At a cabin trip with GF, Hannah, friend of mine, Fred, and his GF, Ingrid, during the summer holiday. It's about an hour walk from GF's hometown, so not completely in the wilderness, but it's still away from civilization and it has shit mobile reception. There is a area with pastures and cabins, and a massive wood of evergreens that I guess are part of the taiga belt. The area is used as summer pastures for sheep and at times cows, so they hang around there. First evening we just sit on the porch when suddenly a group of 12 or something sheep and lambs just run like all hell past the cabin. There are no predators in the area besides foxes, so it was a bit weird, but sheep are stupid and easily spooked, so we don't really think much about it. That night I had drank one too many beers, so I have to get up and take a piss at around 3 a.m. This is in Norway, so it never really gets dark during the summer. Pissing when I hear a really messed up sound. It sounded almost like a wolf howl, but also like someone getting their nails pulled out with pliers. Far, far away, and it sounded like it came from a densely wooded area that starts about 300 meters from the cabin. Nope, as hard as I never have done in my life and get my ass back inside, no more sleep for me that night. Tell Hannah, Fred, and Ingrid about it the next morning. They were all passed out, so they did not hear shit. Girls are spooked, but Fred laughs and calls me a pussy. Next day we go for a hike up to the mountains. After an hour or so we come across a sheep carcass on the trail. Now sheep getting themselves killed on the summer pastures is not unusual. Usually those dumb assholes fall to their death or something, but this was in a pretty flat area, so that seemed very unlikely. None of us know much about this stuff, but it looks like it has been there a couple of days and that birds and other animals have had their way with it. Right now I am spooked as hell, but I compose myself and we carry on. Can't shake the feeling that we are being observed somehow. Get back to the cabin at around 6 p.m. and we start preparing dinner and getting a fire ready for the evening. Ingrid goes to get firewood that is stored in a small shed about 50 meters or so from the cabin. I stand on the kitchen when I see her through the window sprinting back, with no wood. She slams the door shut and is completely hysterical, claims she saw a big animal walking on its hind legs just inside the tree line. She's hysterical. Hannah is scared, I know, but try to keep a straight face. My friend says the girls are ridiculous and that it must have been a person. People do hike in the area, but rarely in the spruce woods since it's just dark and shitty in there. Eventually we calm down a bit and after some alcohol we forget about it and the mood picks up. We sit there when the howl/scream comes again. Difference is that everyone hears it this time. We collectively nope the fuck out, collect our shit and get our asses inside. Now there are wolves in Norway, but not in the area. Once a decade or so a stray can wander here, but it's super rare and they usually get shot/tranked pretty fast. Inside, both girls are scared to death. Me and Fred try to act tough, but we both are scared shitless too. Wolves are one thing, but something about this just felt wrong. We spend most of the evening looking out the windows, and all agree that no one goes outside alone, and that we all should sleep in the same bedroom, so we bring mattresses to the floor so me and my friends can sleep on, while the girls take the bed. I don't know about the others, but after what seems an eternity I fall asleep. Suddenly at the middle of the night I wake up to a loud bang on the outside wall. Girls both scream their lungs out and suddenly Ingrid's, who is next to the window, eyes widen and she turns white as a sheet and start hyperventilating. We just sit there and look at her, but suddenly Hannah yells at me and tells me to call for help. Despite the shit signal up there I luckily get 1 bar of signal, but really have no fucking clue who to call really. The fucking cops? Suddenly remember that both of my GF's brothers, Roger and Eirik, hunt and they have ATVs. I call one of them, it's in the middle of the night, but luckily he picks up the phone. He's not thrilled about getting woken up at the middle of the night, but I guess he can sense the panic in my voice, so he takes me seriously. I tell him there is a wolf or some shit stalking us, and I asking him to get his brother, brings guns, and get here ASAP. While we sit there, scared shitless, we can hear something walking outside and we can hear heavy breathing. We closed the curtains and no one dares to go near the window. Ingrid is still white as paper and can't say a word. 15 minutes or so later, we hear engines and GF's brothers arrive with rifles on their backs. They are not too happy, but once they see us, and especially Ingrid, they take us seriously. There is no way we can fit 6 grown people on one ATV, so we decide that we wait until morning before we go back down. We tell them about everything. They look at each other, but does not say anything. When we are done, Roger tells us that if there really is a wolf in the area, they first need to get permission from the authorities to assemble a hunting party and shoot it, because if you don't, you risk some serious jail time unless you kill it in self-defense. Next morning, as soon as the sun rises, we haul ass from there and get back to my GF's parents. Not much drama there, and we felt much safer when we had people with guns there. When we get back down, Ingrid finally speaks again. She's sobbing and tells us she saw a big animal that rounded the corner of the cabin and that it was much larger than an ordinary wolf, but not a bear either. Collective nopes from all of us, but we at least are safe now and none of us ever want to go back to that goddamn cabin in our lives. Next part is second-hand since I did not experience it myself. Roger and Eirik contact the authorities about the wolf the next day. Turns out several people beat them to it, and there had been several people reporting in about disemboweled sheep, and 2 hikers reported hearing a weird howl. With so many reports, they granted a limited permission to hunt the animal, and any licensed volunteer with a hunting license could go. Eirik and Roger was thrilled, since the most dangerous thing they had hunted before was deer, and a lot other hunters came along. Around 10 or so total. They 2 go in one group, a friend of theirs they call Puma goes in another with his father. They kept at it all day without seeing or hearing shit. It was getting really late, but they agreed over radio to keep at it since they had plenty of food, although it was getting pretty foggy. Eirik and Roger don't see anything, but at around 11 p.m. they heard the howl far away from where they were, and both of them agree it did sound fucked up in some way. They did have Puma on radio and he was about 5 kilometers or from where they were. And he said the howl was quite close. This is what Puma told Eirik and Roger, which they have told me. He never talks about it unless he drinks, and they say he usually tears up and he has not been the same since, so this is second-hand of second-hand. Puma and his father was walking in those spruce woods next to the cabin, when they heard the howl. He said it had to be less than a kilometer away and his blood froze to ice, because it was no fucking way that was a wolf, he claimed. He shoulders his rifle and looks through the scope. He says he thinks he saw something walk on 2 legs, but he can't be sure since he does not have a clear line of sight. He said he almost shit his pants then and there, but they radio the other hunters and ask for backup. Most of them are too far away to get there in a reasonable amount of time, but one group is quite close. He says as they are walking towards the other group and they are within earshot, he hears another sound. This time it sounds like a man screaming and it's loud as all hell. They run towards the other group, don't knowing what to think, and they meet up. Everyone heard it, but it was none of them. They meet up, 5 grown-ass men, and everyone is freaking the hell out. One of the other hunter claimed he saw a hairy guy with yellow eyes through his binoculars, but the others would not believe him since that was fucking nuts. They all agree to get the hell out of there. After 10 minutes or so they get out of the spruce woods and Puma swears he hears a fucked up laugh, almost like a hyena when they get out of the woods. That's all I know about it. Roger and Eirik still hunt in the area, but they both say they are more on guard now. Puma flat out refuses to go back.